So y'all, I have really come to terms with and grasp the fact that this video recording, these recordings, and YouTube combined together is just going to keep making it look like the camera is this close to my face, okay? I go back and look at the video and I'm like, boom, I might as well pick up the phone and have it just like this, all right? I don't know what's happening. As long as y'all can hear my voice, I guess I'm just gonna have to be okay with that. I mean, we are 20. Did y'all hear what I said? 20. We are 20. We are 20 days in of sweet November, 30 days of manna. I pray that y'all have been decreeing each and every day manna for yourself from God, fresh revelation, provision, whatever it is that you stand in need of during this time. I pray that you have taken it serious, y'all. Serious. I know I say we like y'all, y'all listening, but I get up here. How can I put it? It's just in me. A little bit of comedy, a little comical, but in all seriousness, there is always a message. God always shows up. Holy Spirit always shows up, and there is always revelation and wisdom and knowledge that I am giving you all because I'm literally getting it from them each and every single day, right? And so although November, we only have 10 days left of this month, I believe with my entire heart, it is my fervent prayer, earnest prayer, that even though we only have 10 days left, that God will continue to rain down manna on you as long as you need it, okay? As long as you need it, that he will continue to surprise you, that he will continue to do the supernatural in your life, that he will continue to answer every declaration you have made, every prayer you have sent, every proclamation that you have made, everything that you have announced out of your mouth, because I know by now, if you have listened to me even for a little while, that you know that I am big on words, that I believe that words have power. It's true that they have power, and that we are going to see a return on everything that we have said out of our mouths this month and henceforth. Moving forward, everything that we say, we shall see. And so I believe this is going to be a continual thing, that it is going to carry over into December, into the next year, into really, all of our lives, because we have the power to say what it is that we need to see here on earth as it is in heaven. And so I am getting into day 20. Welcome back to those that have been following, and welcome to those who are just tuning in for the very first time. Go back and check out the rest of the videos, but for now, make sure you stay, like, comment, subscribe if you feel like you should do so towards the end or at the very end, and definitely share, okay? And so if I had to have a title for tonight, because y'all know I like the titles, it would be You and Me. We will be distinguished. We will be distinguished. So when I looked into distinguished, exactly what that means, we have several meanings for them. So you can be distinguished as far as your overall appearance, which is show, and that's your look, which means you will look elegant, you will look handsome, you will look proper, you will look sober, you will look elevated, okay? And then you have distinguished as far as being outstanding in your rank, in your notability, famous, celebrated, superior, and star. And then lastly, we have distinguished as differentiated. You will be a discerned people. You will be a separated people. We talked about being set apart as well the other day. And you will be understood, or rather it will be understood who you are and whose you are. You will be distinguished. And so, of course, tonight, our video, you and I, because this is for me as well, our video is going to be based off of Joshua 5. All right. So we already talked about being at the Jordan River, walking through on dry ground, and God drying it up just like he did in the great act for the Israelites in the beginning of their wilderness period when they had to leave Egypt and cross the Red Sea, and he parted it. Okay? He split it. All right? Here and here. Up, walk across dry land. And then everybody that thought they were going to pursue God's people, God said, go ahead and step in that water. I got some for you. And as soon as they got in there, they were wiped out, honey. That was the end of them. Go. Vamos. All right. And so we are at Joshua 5. And I am going to read, okay? I want y'all to go back and read it. So if I read too fast, don't worry about it, because I know you're going to go back and read it for yourself and see what God reveals to you. Now, when all the Amorite kings west of the Jordan and all the Canaanite kings along the coast heard how the Lord had dried up the Jordan before the Israelites until they had crossed over. Let's go back and fill us in. Now, when all the Amorite kings, or when all the enemies, when the enemy, Satan and his imps, and those that opposed you and Tory, heard how the Lord had dried up everything before you, before me, and we had crossed over, the enemy's heart melted. The enemy heart melted in fear, and they no longer had the courage to face you. They no longer had the courage to face Tory. They no longer had the courage to face the Israelites, because what they thought they was going to do is try to stop something. And when they saw the great acts of God, they said, you know what? That's all right today. They got it. They got it. We're not even trying to do that. They had heard about it and became fearful, okay, and lost courage. God is so good. And so we read on, verse 2. At that time, the Lord said to Joshua, make flint knives and circumcise the Israelites again. So Joshua made flint knives and circumcised the Israelites at Gibeath Harold. Now, this is why he did so. All those who came out of Egypt, all the men of military age, died in the wilderness on the way after leaving Egypt. We already know that, y'all. Remember, we talked about it a couple of days ago. They ate the manna, yet they died. Your ancestors, our ancestors, ate the manna, yet they died. We already know that, okay? Nothing new under the sun. All the people that came out had been circumcised, but all the people born in the wilderness during the journey from Egypt had not been circumcised. The Israelites had moved about in the wilderness for 40 years until all the men who were of military age when they left Egypt had died, since they had not obeyed the Lord. And we know that they were disobedient in various ways throughout their entire journey. But we thank God for grace and mercy, y'all, because I know y'all not going to sit up here and be like, Torah was the only one that was disobedient or partially disobedient. But I'm so glad that I did not die. I'm still here, and you're still here. Thank you, Lord. All right. And for the Lord had sworn to them that they would not see the land he had solemnly promised to their ancestors to give us, a land flowing with milk and honey. So he raised up their sons and daughters, okay, in their place. And these were the ones Joshua circumcised. So y'all, back then, circumcision was done as a way, I had to say my notebook. Circumcision was done as a way for them to stand out. This was the way they were considered distinguished. Their look, okay, about them. This is how people knew that they were Israelites. They were God's people, because they went through the actual process of being circumcised. Present day, to be circumcised could be something different from us. We are going to have distinguishing character, distinguishing marks, distinguishing looks, distinguishing things about us. Some that you can see in the natural, and then some in the spiritual, okay? But nonetheless, we are not only going to be set apart, but people will be able to tell. They will know who we are and whose we are, okay? And so the circumcision was to reconfirm their identity. Remember, God said to do it again because it had already previously been done. Those people died. So it needed to happen for those that were actually going to go in the promised land. So when they got into the promised land, it would be no doubt about it, no question, no pause about who these people were. Okay, they were going to look at them and be like, oh, okay, I know who they belong to. The same way when you go into the promises that God has for you, they're going to know, oh, okay, I know who hand is on her. I know what God she serves. Okay, the true living God. They are going to know who you are. You will be distinguished, and I don't want y'all to forget that. So what does reconfirm means? To confirm something again. God is confirming again who you are. Y'all, why does this need to be done? Because when we are going through our wilderness period, honey, I don't know about you, but there were times and there were questions and there was some doubt and there was some hesitancy on who I was, what my identity was. Like, there is so much that is going on during your wilderness period that goes on in the mind and other areas of your life as well. But there's a lot of questions that we start to have because of what we are going through, because we know that the pruning and the refining does not feel good. And it's like, hold on, wait a minute. I thought this was supposed to be for my good, and really it actually is for your good, but it just doesn't necessarily feel good. Okay, so there is a lot going on. So God is like, okay, baby girl, son, I know you went through a lot. You get ready to go into all the promises I have for you. So now that all of this has happened, this reconstruction has happened, I need to reaffirm and reconfirm again who you are. And so reconfirm, he's reconfirming your identity. This is how you reconfirm your identity. To be confirmed again, you will be established, and it means to be more strongly, y'all. To reconfirm means to be established and more strongly. Be strong and very courageous. You are not coming out of this thing weak, okay? There is no way. When I say there is no way we have endured all that we have endured to come out weak, excuse me? Where does that happen? I mean, because I feel like we the survival of the fittest. You know, if you ask me. We ready. All that. Us. Try it if you want to. All right? I'm just saying, when you go through this period, y'all know, because y'all have been there, you know, like you have been tried. When I say tried, you know how they say tried and true? Like you have been tried. Okay? Yet here you stand. With God backing you, with God covering you. He's been doing it the entire time. There is no way you can come out of this thing weak at all. You might have been weak in it, but you're not coming out weak. We're not coming out weak. Weak what? What is weak? We don't know what that is, okay? All right. And so more strongly for reconfirm. All right. So you will be validated by God. We've been talking about not forgetting God when we get to the promises that he has for us, right? I'm going to repeat that because God has repeated it in his word probably about 100 million times, okay? We've been talking about not forgetting God when we enter the promised land, when we enter the promises that God has for us. What are we supposed to do? What did they do when they got into there? So we are now going to go back to Joshua 5 and talk about what took place when they, after the circumcision took place and they were healed. Okay. So on the evening of the 14th, this is verse 10, we're picking back up. On the evening of the 14th day of the month, while camped at Gilgal on the plains of Jericho, the Israelites celebrated. This was after they were distinguished. after they were circumcised, okay? And we went over those things already. Then the Israelites celebrated the Passover. The day after the Passover, that very day, they ate some of the produce of the land, of the promised land, okay? They ate some from there. It did not say that they got up in the morning, there was flakes on the ground and they went out to prepare it, and to gather it and then prepare it. That's not what they say. That's not what it says. It did not say that manna came down. It said, and I'm going to read it again. The day after the Passover, meaning the day after they celebrated what God did for them. That very day, the day after Passover, that very day, they ate some of the produce of the land, the unleavened bread and roasted grain. The manna stopped the day after they ate this food from the land. There was no longer any manna for the Israelites, but that year they ate the produce of the Canaan. I want to go back to the part about them celebrating. They were distinguished. They were circumcised. And then they celebrated. What does it mean to celebrate? To commemorate something. And you are commemorating God bringing you out of your wilderness period. Y'all, we are out. We are out. And for some of you all, you might be like right behind us, but you are coming out. This is a time to celebrate, commemorate everything that God has done for you in your period of being in the wilderness, on your journey, however long it has been. It may look different for everybody, but this is your time to celebrate him bringing you out, commemorate, to remember, memorialize, to honor God, to exalt God for all that he has done, for being faithful to you and true to his word, to glorify God, and to bless the Lord your God for keeping his word, keeping his promises, keeping his covenants, keeping his precepts, keeping his words that he has spoken or had his men and women, true men and women of God, to speak into your life. And when it's all done, don't forget the Lord your God. How do you do it? You celebrate him. However you see fit to celebrate him. If you want to actually throw a party. Send me an invitation. I'll come and help celebrate with you. But you give him the honor that is due for him keeping his word, keeping his vow. Let God be true and every man a liar. People lie, but God does not. His word will stand and last forever and ever and ever. Y'all, this is day 20. We have arrived at day 20. We have 10 of them things left, but it's not going to stop what God is doing in our life. None whatsoever. You will be distinguished. You will be circumcised. And you will celebrate what God has done for you. Share this with the people that you love, that you know needs to hear it. Perhaps you are going through your wilderness period. Drop some comments, whatever you feel led to share, whatever you want to put in there. I definitely check and I talk back. Or share with somebody who you know perhaps maybe going through their wilderness period and just need some words of encouragement. They need to know that they are not alone. They're not by themselves, that they are not the only one that has or will experience their time of God just kind of pruning and refining them and growing and stretching them, because God has greater for them and they need some encouragement. They need to hear testimonies. They need to hear what God has done for other people in the situation that they are currently facing. Y'all, as always, be blessed, be encouraged. I thank you for your time. I thank you for tuning in, and we will be back tomorrow for day 21. This is Sweet November, the sweetest we've known to date. 30 days of manna. Don't stop decreeing it. As always, be blessed, be encouraged. Bye.